Good morning, students. How are you all? I am Ira Mustafa, your science teacher. Today, we will learn more about living things and their environments. We will read lesson number 3. How do plants and animals live in water environments? We will read textbook pages 23 and 24. Today's learning objective is that you will be able to learn how plants and animals can live in water environments. Dear students, first of all, we will recall the previous lesson. In previous lesson, we have learned about an environment and its different kinds. First of all, I will tell you what is an environment. An environment is all the living things and non-living things live in one place. There are the different kinds of environments: land environments and water environments. Land environments have different kinds of environments like forest environment, prairie environment, and desert environment. Second kind of environment is water environments. Marshes and swamps are the two different kinds of water environments. Now, first of all, we will discuss land environments. They have different kind of environments. A forest is a land environment. It is a land environment that has many trees and other plants. So many animals live in forest like tiger, lion, monkeys, black bears, etc. Animals live in different environments. They have some body parts that help them to live in that environment. Like black bear lives in forest. They have sharp claws that help them to dig for food and help them to climb trees. Second kind of land environment is a prairie. A prairie is another kind of land environment. It is flat land that is covered with grasses. Prairie dogs, goats, cows, sheep live in prairies. Prairie dogs have sharp teeth and claws. Sharp teeth help prairie dogs to chew food, and sharp claws help them to dig holes that are used for shelter. Now, third land environment is desert. A desert is a dry land. It gets very little rain or snow. Most deserts are very cold and some are very hot. Plants grow in desert. They hold water like cactus. Cactus have waxy leaves that hold water. Many animals get the water they need for the plants they eat. Now students, second kind of environment is water environment. Some animals live in water environment. They get what they need there. Some plants live in water environments too. Flat leaves help the plants float, like water lily. Some plants have long stems with roots down to the soil, soak up the nutrients, and long stems help them to get sunlight that is necessary for plants to make food. Some plants live underwater. They grow there where they get sunlight easily. A wetland is an environment that is covered with water. Marshes are wetlands and they have grasses. Many kinds of animals live in marshes, like blue herons live in marshes. They have long, sharp beaks and they catch fish with them. Blue herons have long, thin legs. They help them to walk easily in water. Second kind of water environment is swamp environment. Swamps are also wetlands. A swamp has soft wetland and has many trees. Alligators live in some swamps. They are good swimmers. They use their long, strong tails to help them swim. Now, look at the picture, dear students. What you have seen, that is the picture of marsh because it is a wetland with grasses. Look, there are different animals that live in marsh, like blue herons, turtles, fish, insects, birds, snakes. Now, dear students, look at the next picture. You have seen blue herons in marsh. Look, it has long beak and thin and long legs. Blue herons' long and thin legs help them to walk in water easily. And it has long beak to catch fish easily. Now look at the second picture. What you have seen? You have seen turtle in the second picture. Turtle also live in marsh environment. Now dear students, look at this. This is the picture of swamp. Swamp is a soft wetland with many trees and other plants. Now look at, this is alligator. Alligator lives in swamps. And you have seen that it has very long and strong tail that help the alligator to swim in water. And you know that alligators are very good swimmers. Now students, open page number 23 of your textbook and write day, classwork and date at the top of the page according to the given format. Now students, look at question number 1. Read and talk about how some plants float on water. First of all, I will read the paragraph Listen carefully. Water environments. Some animals live in water environments. They get what they need there. Some plants live in water environments too. Flat leaves help the plants. Long stems with roots down to the soil soak up the nutrients. Some plants live underwater. Now, students, I will read it again. You will also read along with me. Water environments. Some animals live in water environments. They get what they need there. Some plants live in water environments too. Flat leaves help the plants float. Long stems with roots down to the soil soak up the nutrients. Some plants live underwater. Now, students, look at this picture. What you have seen in this picture? In this picture, you have seen flowers. They have flat leaves that help them to float in the water. Yes, students, we have already discussed that animals and plants live in any environment. They have some body parts that help them to live there. They get everything from the environment they need. Flat leaves of plants help them to float. Some plants who need more sunlight as water, they have long stems with roots. They use their roots to soak up the nutrients from the soil. Some plants live underwater because they need less sunlight, so they survive underwater. Okay, students, move on. Question number 2. Question number 2 is read, circle two parts of the heron that help it live in the marsh. Now, students, I will read the paragraph at first. Listen carefully. Marsh environments. A wetlands is an environment that is covered with water. Marshes are wetlands and they have grasses. Many different kinds of animals live in marshes. Blue herons live in marshes. They have long, sharp beaks and they catch fish with them. Herons have long, thin legs too. Now, students, I will read it again. You will read along with me. Marsh environments. A wetland is an environment that is covered with water. Marshes are wetlands and they have grasses. Many different kinds of animals live in marshes. Blue herons live in marshes. They have long, sharp beaks and they catch fish with them. They have long, thin legs too. Dear students, we have already discussed that wetland is an environment that is covered with water. Wetland has different kinds like marshes and swamps. Marshes are wetlands and they have grasses. Many different kinds of animals live in marshes like blue herons, frogs, toads, turtles, snakes, birds, and insects. Some of them are only found in a marsh. Some birds that love a marsh environment include wading birds such as blue herons, waterfowl, and fishing birds like belted kingfish and osprey. Blue herons have long, sharp beaks that help them to catch fish with them. They have long, thin legs too that help them to walk in water. In the same way, frogs have webbed feet that help them to move in water easily. Turtles have flippers to move in water. So, students, animals and plants that live in any environment have some body parts that help them to survive in that environment. Okay, students, move on page number 24. Look at question number 3. Read why alligators in a swamp need to be good swimmers. Now, students, I will read the paragraph at first. Now, listen carefully. Swamp environment. Swamps are wetlands. A swamp has soft, wet land and many trees. Alligators live in some swamps. They are good swimmers. They use their long, strong tails to help them swim. Yes, dear students, I will read it again. You will read along with me. Swamp environment. Swamps are wetlands. A swamp has soft wetland and many trees. Alligators live in some swamps. They are good swimmers. They use their long, strong tails to help them swim. Okay, dear students, as we have already discussed, that swamp is also an other kind of wetlands. A swamp has soft wetland and has many trees. I will repeat it again. A swamp has soft wetland and has many trees. Alligators, frogs, and many other animals live in swamps. These animals are adapted to fluctuating water levels. The shadowy tree root system and cypress knobs provide a rich sheltered habitat for nesting birds as well as fish, amphibians, and reptiles. Alligators live in some swamps, and they are very good swimmers. and they use their long, strong tails to help them swim. We have already discussed this thing that the animals and plants they live in different environments and they have some body parts that help them to survive in that environment. Like alligator have strong and long tail, it helps it to swim in water. Now students, move on question number 4. Make a list of other animals you can find in a marsh or a swamp. Yes students, we have already discussed that different animals live in swamp or marshes. So you will write down the list of some animals like blue herons, alligators, turtles, frogs, snakes, birds, insects live in marsh environments. I will repeat it again. Blue herons, alligators, turtles, frogs, snakes, birds, insects live in marsh or in swamp environment. So dear students, you will write these on the given lines. I will repeat it again. Turtles, fish, birds, frogs, snakes, alligators live in both wetlands. So you will write down the name of some animals here that live in marsh or swamp environment. So that's all for today. See you in the next lesson, dear students. Allah Hafiz.